Previously, Rude had beaten the guardian of the dungeon to get the wish-granting stone to cure his sister's illness, but he left Marius, the guardian of the dungeon, alive because it would help bring in adventurers, which would help their remote town to grow economically, and to manage the incoming adventurers. Rude created a guild to keep the unlawful adventurers in check. But they wanted to get some help since Rude and his clan had only a few members, so he asked other top clans for help, but they asked him to trade Neen to get advisors. Neen was a saint, but more importantly, she was a precious friend, so Rude declined their offer and challenged the top guilds that he would clear out the dungeon that they were struggling to clear out. So Neen was happy the way Rude protected her out there, but when she got away with Luna, Lily brought in Rude to her room while she was struggling with her clothes. She can't tie the strings herself, so Rude gives her a hand and ties up the strings, but she stopped Rude from leaving. She was impressed the way Rude stood up to protect Neen, and in that regard she wanted to be the same to protect her twin sister. Lilia was always brave and first to jump into the fight. She was brave, and even when they fused together to combine their power, Lilia was always the main personality. So Lily wanted to support her sister by becoming stronger and independent, and that's why she needs help from Rude, and he agreed to help her out. She's a bit clumsy, and when Rude tried to save her, Lilia got in and jumped the gun. Well, the situation was misleading, so she called him out in the roof to talk, but Lilia was fine if it was Rude. Lilia knew Rude would never hurt her sister, so she just acted like that to call him out. She shares with Rude how she and her sister were abused by their parents that forced them to run away from home, which is why Lilia wanted to take Lily away to a safe place to keep her safe. Both sisters shares the same thoughts, and Rude saw no problem helping them out. Then the next day, twins explored the dungeon first with other adventurers so that they could use dungeon walk skill to directly move to the 49th floor of the dungeon. There Lily brought out the information on the monsters they would fight that might have status effect skills, but Rude was immune to it, so there won't be a problem with it. Then Rude quickly assigned a role to everyone for the fight, but Lily asked to take the command during the battle. She was trying to take a chance, and Rude agreed to her request. After that, they moved to the 49th floor to adapt to the type of monster they would fight, and there a lizard and black owl warmly welcomed them, and Rude took their attention with provoke skill. He was taking in all the damage to give the others a chance to attack them. But many more came out of the cave, and Rude and his party wanted to save their energy to fight the boss on the 50th floor. So they all pulled back to save their time and energy. And there Marius noticed that Rude can use provoke skill on any level of monster, which was rare as a tank. Rude was getting amazing with time, but then, Rude noticed in their conversation that Marius was actually not a human. He was a guardian of the dungeon once and almost killed Rude and the entire party, so they asked Marius to tell them about himself. But he didn't have to force himself if he doesn't want to. Even so, he reveals that he's a demonoid, opposite from humans. The god of light created the beings called humans and demi-humans, but the demi-humans who swore themselves to the demon were later called demonoid, and the dungeon that humans use for their own benefit was also the creation of the demon to destroy the whole world. The humans learned that gods made the dungeon to nurture the humans, but the whole legend the humans learned was wrong, and that's how demonoid played their role to destroy the world by becoming the guardian of the dungeon. But Marius was totally fine with fighting his own kind, because he hates them since they chose this type of life to become a guardian, and the whole party supported his will and doesn't mind having him around. So that ended the chit-chat, and Lilia explains their plan to beat the boss of the 50th floor. Then they moves according to plan and goes to the 50th floor, and there the boss was a bone dragon that causes status effects massively. So Rude has to take the front while the twins would attack it from range. Plus its weakness was fire, so Lily had told everyone to use the fire element in fight. Rude was holding on with all the attacks and acted as a decoy to give a chance to others to land a hit, but the dragon used a sludge attack on Rude to slow down his movement, so Neen helped him out with water and created an auto-healing area. That skill is one of the saint's skills, and even after an hour, they weren't able to kick the dragon out. So Rude blocked its fire attack head-on to take the damage and used it on the bones. That defeated the boss and they cleared out the 50th floor. For that, they went to have a party and Neen was enjoying her drink from her heart. There Luna got curious to try out the booze and Rude couldn't say no to such pretty please eyes, but she didn't like the bitter taste of booze. but the booze was getting to Neen and she asked Rude about him and the twins. They were getting awfully close to him, but he promised they are just party mates, nothing more. So the line was clear and Neen again tried to propose Rude to have a relationships, but he still wanted to focus on curing his sister's disease, so Rude tells them he wanted to focus on dungeon first. But it was reassuring for Luna that Rude is not in a relationship, and Neen saw a lot of love trouble for Rude in his future, but there the party ended, so when Rude returns back to his room, Lilia was already waiting for him to have a talk. She was afraid with the way Lily was changing, it kept her thinking that she was getting distant from her, like she was drifting away, but Rude was sure that despite the change, their bonds will not change in the least. That calmed her heart, and the next day, the party gets to the 51st floor to advance further. But the entire floor was covered in a magic fog that can't be erased even with wind magic, so Marius taught them to sense the mana nearby that helps them into sensing the monsters. With that they advanced further and killed many fish monsters, and cleared the 51st floor. There they took a bit of time to rest to prepare for the next boss floor, and then they went to the 52nd floor after that. There, the Bones was the boss and had 3 crystal balls around him. Yellow was acting like a shield. Red orb was for the attack, and blue was working on enhancing the Bones' attack power and speed. So their entire party attacked together to keep the pressure on Bones. But then the Bones used a dark magic to manipulate Lily and others with a status effect skill. Lilia was seeing things from her past and wanted to protect Lily from her abusive parents, so Neen first works on Lilia and Luna to wake them up, while Rude was handling down the Bones. But he asked Marius to take his place to handle Lilia himself. He promises to Lilia that he would always protect her and her sister, which cancelled out the effects of the manipulation of that Bones, and after that, Rude again trades places with Marius and Neen used a water spell to protect Rude from fire attack. But when he attacked the Bones he saw a drop of water pass through the barrier, and Rude realized that shield only protect again one attack at a time, so they all attacked together one by one to land a hit, and 3 of the girls used their spell at the same time to surround it. But Rude took that chance to get through that spell to attack him while taking damages. He converted the damage into attack. But the Bones woke up again and made a duplicate of itself, but Luna helped others into identifying the real one with her attack. So Rude wanted to return back home since it was enough for today, but a girl suddenly appears behind him and bit him on the neck. A mysterious girl appearance called a lot of other dark Bones, but she killed them all with a single attack, and Marius realized with the power level that she's the Demon King. But unfortunately, that is where our today's video comes to an end, but please stay tuned to watch the next part and many other anime recaps. Until then, take care.